All right, hello guys. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. Today I want to talk about the most recent scandal that happened online with the Wizardliz and her relationship and this public cheating scandal, and give you my 2 cents on it because I do have a few things to say. I have been watching how the girls have been defending Liz and what they have been saying, and then how they turned against her and all the discourse about this. All right, if somehow you haven't heard of this story, I guess I'll just recap it real quick for you. So, if you know the Wizard Liz online, on YouTube specifically, and but also on Instagram and TikTok, she's one of the biggest YouTubers and one of the biggest influencers who talks about empowerment for women, who talks about self development and things like that. And she's known as a very self respecting, self loving person who is very strict with her boundaries, all that kind of stuff. And she less than a year ago she got into a relationship that she made public. She posted the guy. They had a very quick engagement, and very recently we all learned that he cheated on her and that she's 4 months pregnant, or was at the time. And the internet went crazy, like absolutely feral, defending Liz, which made me really happy. Of course, we learned that she left the guy really quickly. He also embarrassed himself really badly by posting the interaction with the other girl online in his own stories or something like that, and just made himself look even worse. It was absolutely disgusting, to be honest. But that's not what I want to talk about. The stuff that, the thing that really, I can't say upset me, but the thing that really kind of triggered me a little bit was that the one thing that the girls that were upset online were talking about was that, well, if Liz was cheated on, then like there's no hope for all of us. I absolutely hate when girls do that. I hate that. We all know how Beyonce was cheated on, how Emrata was cheated on. Pretty much, I don't know, a lot of women were cheated on, right, myself included. And I could never understand the take about, oh, even if the most beautiful woman in the world, the most like, smart and beautiful and attractive woman in the world gets treated on, like, how is there any hope for like us, right? I think this is one of the worst takes that you can take from the situation. And I was kind of hoping that this is common sense, but apparently not, because the women keep talking about this. And it's really grinding my gears, because why do you think that your beauty is somehow a protective armor against cheating men? Why would you take something as superficial as your looks and make it the only asset, the most important asset that you have, that will make a man loyal to you? How does that make any sense at all? Because this makes absolutely no sense to me. And then if you ask me, well, what could it be then? Like, what asset do I possess that makes a man loyal to me? There's no such thing. The answer is there's no such thing. There's no such asset. It doesn't exist. It's not your wealth, it's not your money, it's not your brain, not your career, your degrees, your housekeeping skills, or whatever. None of those things matter and mean anything if you are with the wrong person. Why are you putting this responsibility still to this day onto women and onto yourself? Do you really believe that there is something that you possess, something that you can do to like cheat proof your relationship? I've seen some of those videos before, and I have to tell you that this is absolute bullshit. No. Let me just make it very, very clear to you. Okay? The man who will never cheat on you is a man who doesn't cheat. A man who will not cheat on you is a man who is a loyal person. That's it. It is up to the man. Okay? There is nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. I absolutely hate the discourse about being high value woman or whatnot. I hate that so much, because you think that it puts you on a pedestal that makes you untouchable somehow. The only thing that can make you untouchable to these men, if you lock yourself up, if you lock yourself in your house, if you do not interact with them, that will make you untouchable. Okay? But if you do interact with them, if you get into relationships with them, no. But I also don't believe that we should be focusing on that so much. I don't believe in hyper focusing on men like this and worrying like this. I used to be like this, and this is the most insane thing in the world, that like this is something that's completely out of your control. You just have to understand that if you're the person who like worries a lot and overthinks things, like this is the kind of person that I am, unfortunately. And it's not just about relationships, it's about so many other things that we care about, right? You have to understand your zone of control, right? I did talk about this in my like guilt and shame video, I believe, about your zone of control. And this is, I want to make a reference to that video right now. If you're interested, go watch it, or go watch it again if you have seen it before, because it's a really good one. But you have a zone of responsibility and zone of control. There are only so many things you can control, and all of those things have to do with yourself. All of those things have to do with you. You cannot control what other people do, what they think, how they act, how they behave. You can try to police their behavior. You can try to do whatever it is that you want to do, honestly, but it's not going to do a thing. It will also decrease your self worth, and it will decrease your self respect, because you know, consciously or not, but you do understand that what you're doing is not very self respecting, right? You have to allow other people the freedom. You have to allow the man that you're with the freedom to make his own choices, because this is a choice. You know what Landon was saying about this being a mistake? It's not a mistake. Yeah, this is also like gaslighting 101. And I guess one of the perks in having experienced something traumatic, having been in traumatic relationships, abusive relationships, having had, I don't know, traumatic experiences in your childhood, choosing self development and the healing path, is that you know manipulation, and you know manipulators when you see them. You get really good at recognizing those signs, too good sometimes. Too good sometimes. And I have to say, proudly, I don't want to boast about this because, well, that's just not very nice, right? But I didn't like this guy from the get go. I did not understand the girls trying to make him look like a golden retriever boyfriend, and that he looks like he has this good energy. I never really bought that to begin with, to be completely honest with you. Yes, he does give off this like nerdy guy vibe, but also not really. Not really. Let me tell you something. I know nerdy guys. This is not a nerdy guy. It's not a nerdy guy, okay? He is weaponizing religion against her to defend himself. Okay? And we'll talk about his ex in a second, but he did the same thing with her. He did the same thing with his ex. He weaponized her religion against her. And now the same thing with Liz, who is of different religion, and he did the same thing. You have to learn how to recognize patterns and see the signs when it's so clear. You just have to do that. And if someone is someone who talks about self-development, and as someone who talks about healing and leveling up and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, right? You have to understand that recognizing those signs or learning those signs, especially from older women as well, if you can, from online, whatever, from the books. But you have to do that. You have to learn that. You have to understand what an abusive relationship is and what are the signs of an abusive relationship. That's a different thing altogether, but manipulation kind of falls under the umbrella of being in an abusive relationship. And kind of a lot of the times that's how we know what it is, because we've been in an abusive relationship, right? Learn about these things. Even if you haven't experienced them by yourself, learn from the women who have experienced them. Should I make a series about this? Honestly, kind of feel like I should, um because I feel like girls need help. And I stand by pretty much everything that Liz was talking about, and I always liked her and supported her. I did respect her very, very much, and still do respect her so much for leaving this guy. However, this most recent thing that happened with his ex girlfriend Abby, who spoke up about this, which is such a brave thing to do. It is such a brave thing to do. And I'm so happy that the girls online supported her for this, because we understand what it feels like. Not all of us understand exactly what it feels like to be in that specific situation because it's horrifying. Because she was stalked, she was abused, he got her pregnant, she lost the baby. It's a very, very traumatic situation. And she talked about this. And I have to give her her flowers for this because this is really brave. It's a really hard thing to do. And I don't see how she would benefit from lying about this whatsoever. How would she lie about that? To get more followers, she has over 1 million followers. She's doing okay. All right, she's doing well. I feel like I'm getting sidetracked about this because, like, the more I talk about this, the more the more ideas I have of what to talk about because it's just there's so much for us to learn about this from this. Oh my god. All right, listen up, okay? Lesson number one: beauty has nothing to do with the behavior of the man that you get involved with, especially if you're young. But honestly, I have met girls older than me who did not know better. So listen up, ladies, girlies. Your looks and your beauty have nothing to do with men's behavior. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Just make peace with that. Thank you. And yes, if you still think that you can beautify yourself, you can do something in order to make yourself more interesting to him, stop that narrative altogether. This mindset is unattractive, okay? If you I'm not saying don't do anything to beautify yourself. Do that if that's what you want to do. Okay? Okay. Now, thing number 2, do not ignore the red flags. Please. Listen, this video just gave me an idea for at least one more video about red flags in relationships, and I will make another video, at least one more video about manipulation, about abusive relationships, about signs of an abusive relationship, because this is education. This is not just entertainment, this is your safety. This is very, very extremely important to do. Okay, you have to learn about these things so you know the signs. So women stay in abusive relationship for years, and I hate hearing from other people, well, why did you stay, why did you endure this, right? I absolutely hate hearing people talk about this. This is absolutely disgusting to me because I can tell that they know nothing about this topic. They have no idea how dangerous this is, and they have no idea how addicting this is. They don't know how these people think, not the victims, not the abusers. They have no idea. Abusers never pose themselves, they never present as bad guys. They present as really, really loving, sweet guys, or at the very least, as just neutral guys, okay? Oh my god. They can study you, they can learn you, they can learn what you're interested in, what kind of guys you like, and present as such, okay? This I'll talk about this separately because I do not want to get off this topic right now, but do not ignore the red flags. Learn about abusive relationships and the signs of abuse, and do not ignore it. Why don't you ignore it? If you think that, if you think for a second that, well, this is not too bad, like I can, I still love him more than, I hate that little thing that he did or that little comment that he made. The thing you have to understand about abuse is that abusers like to test your boundaries. They'd like to see how much they can push and how much you will allow, because the more you allow, the further they will go. So it may very literally end up in your so this can end really badly for you. Do not ignore this. Talk about this with your girlfriends. Talk about this with your female relatives. If you don't have anyone to talk to about this, ChatGPT about this, I have no idea, journal about this, message me about this. um, I will talk about this more because this can save lives. This is very, very important, okay? And if not just lives, the quality of your life is very important also. Let's not ignore that. The bird outside agrees. Thing number 3, do not ignore his exes if they give you warnings, okay? I'm not talking about whatever, I don't say crazy exes, like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna say that because that's manipulation again. from the men. I'm not talking about the jealous exes or anything like that. I don't know how many people this happened to. Never happened to me. Luckily, and I was never that person. That's just gross behavior. But I'm talking about exes that experienced abuse from the person you're with, the person you're involved with, and they are warning you, not because they want him, but because they are a good person. She's a good woman and she wants to warn you because, I don't know, because she cares, because she feels that she somehow owes you this information because she knows better, because she's been through it and she should warn you. Please do not ignore that also, and especially in this case, like with Abby going online and talking about her story in detail, and just the thing about both Liz and Lyndon, and I don't know any facts. Let me just tell you that, like, all of this is, I'm just discussing something that happens online currently as we're speaking, and I'm only judging by what I'm seeing. Both Liz and Landon accusing her of lying is something that is kind of gross to me because she did show us facts. She did show us the evidence. And people online also compiled evidence of her older videos and something that Landon talked about in Liz's video about his trips to Greece and whatnot. I'm not saying that you should take any drastic action, but what I'm saying is do not ignore if someone is trying to warn you. Okay, thing number 4, probably the final thing that I'm gonna mention in this topic is that focus on yourself. Okay, and this point is coming from point number 1 is that your beauty or any physical or anything about you really can do anything to save him, to make him a better person. It's not how that works. You cannot save anyone. There's nothing. You should not be anyone's therapist. You should not be his mommy. You should not parent him. You should not have to teach him and explain things. We as women do so much of this emotional labor as is, teaching men how to behave and how to act and how to, treat us and blah, 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 all that stuff, right? You should not have to teach him how to be a decent human being. This is not your job. You're not going to do that. Please don't do that. Okay? Focus on yourself, focus on whatever it is that you want to improve in your life or build or create or anything else. Focus on anything that makes you happy and contributes to your happiness, your growth, money flow, anything, your friendships, your other relationships, or anything that nourishes you. Do not waste your energy on trying to save or educate or control a man's behavior. You can't do that. This is out of your control. You don't have that power. Okay? And I am I'm honestly, I am not an extremist. I'm also not a blind follower of, Shira 7. I love and respect that woman. And she's amazing. We love her. I am not blindly following everything she's saying. She's not wrong, I have to say, right? But I will never ever ever say or believe that every man is a cheater because that is just not true. Okay? And another thing that I want to say is that if you catch yourself truly believing that all men are cheaters because that's what you've experienced, that's what your girlfriends have experienced, you have to understand that your environment is a reflection of yourself. That doesn't mean that you cheat. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that you have to understand that you deserve better. And if you're tired of being surrounded by clowns, get out of the circus. Leave the circus. Because there are good people out there. There are good friends. There are good girlfriends. There are good boyfriends. There are good men who do not do any of that stuff. You have to, you know, spend time in solitude. I always say spend time in solitude because that gives you peace, that centers you, and that grounds you. Not necessarily, obviously, it depends on what you do, like what you do with that solitude. heal in solitude. Okay, learn something from this. Learn about your values, learn about your morals, learn about your standards, please. Okay, and do not enter the same circus twice, please. Okay, learn from the mistakes you have made, learn from the lessons that happen to you in your love life, whatever. And please understand that I also don't believe in this conditioning that like it's just going to be like this. Do learn to take benefit from a situation you're in. Obviously, like do learn to, it is a good thing to benefit from the situation that you're in whichever way you can, obviously. Because yes, I do believe that men will always choose themselves, and they will always do whatever is best for them. So I think this is something that we can actually learn from them, as much as I hate to say that, but like that's why we should focus on ourselves. I do not subscribe to the narrative that all men are bad, all men are dogs, they're all cheaters or stuff like that. Just like, I have met men who believe that. I haven't met the men. I have seen the men online who believe that all women cheat, for example. And I know that that's not true because I don't cheat. I haven't met a single woman, a single girl in my life who ever cheated in her life. So, do you know what I'm saying? It depends on your surroundings, it depends on your experience. And I'm really sorry if this is the experience that you had. And I'm sorry for the experience that I had, obviously, right? But it pushed me to grow so much. It pushed me to like reevaluate everything that I knew before and to learn more and to do better and to treat myself better and to show up for myself. Okay, let's just wrap this up real quick, okay? Anyways, you guys, I really hope you like this video. I hope this was informative and helpful to you. Please show up for yourselves, okay? And if you have any suggestions for the topics for my other videos, please let me know because I already have multiple ideas from this video alone. Please let me know what you think about it in the comments. I would really love to hear from you. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. um, I'm really enjoying making videos for you guys, so please support me. I would really appreciate that. And I love you so very much. I will see you in the next one. Please take care and love yourself.